The Silent Wife. Chapter 1. Help You Out. On the night of her wedding, Rachel Hudson sat on the edge of the bed, with a bitter taste in her mouth that extended deep into the bottom of her heart. Amber Hudson was unwilling to marry the disfigured eldest son of the Burton family, so her father had asked Rachel to take her place instead. After that, she was carried into the Burton residence with neither a wedding ceremony nor wedding guests like a bride who couldn't rise to the occasion, making her utterly disappointed with the Hudson family. Just then, the creak of the door being pushed open interrupted her thoughts, and she looked up to meet a man's long, narrow, and sharp black eyes. It was Justin Burton, her current husband. He was tall and slender but not burly, whereas his angular face and tightly compressed lips made him look cold, arrogant, and aloof, just like a commanding hawk in the dark night. However, his originally handsome face was regrettably marred by a scar. It ran from his forehead to his chin, lending him an air of ferocity. Rachel subconsciously averted her eyes under his penetrating gaze. Suddenly, he said with absolute certainty, "You aren't Amber Hudson." The lady before his eyes was obviously more beautiful than Amber. Rachel instinctively put out her hands and gestured to him. Justin frowned. "What are you doing?" Rachel was startled for a moment. It was only then did she realize, with the benefit of hindsight, that he couldn't understand her sign language. After smiling an embarrassed smile, she took out the paper and pen she had brought with her, wrote down a sentence, and showed it to him. The next instant, she saw the man's completely frosty eyes. He let out a sneer and said, "What does Jeffrey Hudson mean by this? He knows that I want Amber, yet he sent a mute, illegitimate daughter over on purpose." The words mute, illegitimate daughter caused Rachel's breath to pause, and she slowly dropped her eyes. The next instant, the man lifted her chin and asked with a voice as chilly as the water in winter, "Does the Hudson family think I am so easy to fool?" Rachel's tiny hands clenched into fists in her sleeves. "He is furious. Is he going to throw me out right away? If that is the case, what about Grandma's medical expenses?" she thought to herself. She wanted to explain, but she could only feel her throat tighten under the man's chilling gaze. As her eyes slowly dimmed, the man suddenly ordered, "Come here." Is he allowing me to stay?" Rachel was delighted at first, but she then thought of what she was about to face. She slowly became nervous, and a thin sheen of sweat coated her palms. Upon seeing her hesitation, Justin thought she had chickened out. He then demanded impassively, "I am very dissatisfied with the fact that your family has substituted the bride with someone else. But now that you're already married to me, you have to fulfill your obligations as my wife." Rachel bit her lower lip, lay flat, and turned her face to the left. Then, she heard a mocking sneer as it reached her ears. "I am asking you to wait on me while I take a bath." Rachel's face, which was as white as porcelain, turned red instantly. She swiftly sat up and saw the man coldly enjoying how she had made a fool of herself. Anger filled her eyes, and she thought to herself, "Is he having fun while making fun of me?" Justin's eyes narrowed slightly, and his voice turned grim. "What are you waiting for?" Rachel suppressed her emotions and slowly walked up to him, but she accidentally scratched his skin with her clumsy fingers. Suddenly, Justin grabbed her wrist and closed in on her. "Did you do it on purpose?" Rachel was dumbfounded for a moment. Then, she shook her head with confusion in her clear eyes. As Justin stared at her, another pair of clear and bright eyes unwittingly appeared in his mind, reminding him of the Hudson family, the chief culprit who had destroyed those very eyes. He promptly sneered and said, "I had no intention of touching you tonight. But since you can't stand being lonely, I can only help you out." Welcome to download Flipread app to read more chapters of The Silent Wife novel online.